Hi folks, it's Adrian Zdunchuk, CMT Charter Market Technician, and this is quick Friday's overview for a couple of charts starting off with Bitcoin against dollar, daily chart on Bitstamp Exchange. Well, consecutive sequence of higher highs and higher lows has been the dominant tendency of the last several weeks, even since August for the last 2 months. And we've just established a little bit of a lower low right here versus what it was just over a couple of days ago. At $60,000, we slipped down towards just right below 59,000, still making it a lower low. Quite a strong follow back towards the mean reversion levels, that is 61,600s. Quite a decent push today. Bitcoin itself is almost 3% up, if I'm not mistaken, right? Quite a decent push, like I said, from the open, 2.3, 2.5%. Quite an aggressive change. It's right there, oscillating around the sideways oriented sine curve type of a B Pro trend line that actually represents and reflects exactly what it is, sideways type of a regime, maybe a little bit of a lower twist, right? Because if you ultimately turn off the candlesticks, you're gonna see a trend, and the trend is just exactly this. All right, so it's a little bit downward oriented, although it's a little bit, it's definitely sideways. It's nothing crazy. It's not like a big bear market anywhere out of nowhere, although it's been quite a decent push over the last, I should say, 212 days. Quite a decent, corrective tide. One of the longest corrections, if I'm not mistaken, ever for Bitcoin during the bull market. So is the higher high canceled? I wouldn't say so. We are still oscillating around the mean, and when we're oscillating around the mean, around the average, it means we're going to have some ups and downs around it. Well, it's still not going to be, in any direction resolved. Most likely, we're going to continue oscillating around the range bound environment, maybe just getting a little bit wider, maybe tighter. It's difficult. When it's sideways, it's much more of a random coin flip than it is to do with any technical analysis type of a thing that is behaviorally driven. So all things concerned, we are still in the same context, still preserving the higher low, kind of still defending the higher low thesis, or unless we break 52,500, which is which would be quite a pull, right? Quite a pull down. It would have to drop 15% in order to invalidate this still rising tendency for the bulls, in favor of the bulls. And this is a quick chart review for Aleph Zero, our partner. Shout out to them, incredibly undervalued project, for what the market is showing right now following the recent breakout to the downside below the critical support, technical support, where the market reacted positively all the times before. Since this level was broken, it stacked actually 50% or so, down to 36 cents, 37 cents, 80% down from the peak. Those are severe, deep pullbacks, right? It's trending to the downside. It's in its own bear market, even though Bitcoin has been going in the bull market for a year and a half or almost 2 years. It will soon have been. The AZERO, such as many other altcoins, are actually following the downward track. So it doesn't look too good technically, right? We are consolidating sideways right now in the form of some sort of like a descending triangle, right, where we have a fairly similar case of lower of equal lows and diminishing, decreasing highs. That forms a little bit of a triangle. I wouldn't force it, right? However, descending triangles can often be as many times follow through to the downside solution as many times as it can be, and a reversal to the upside. If it reverses to the upside, 0.6 is the 200-day simple moving average resistance, earlier met by 45-cent resistance from more time sensitive and more recency sensitive 200-day B Pro trend line at 0.45 right there. So I would say if we break to the upside, 0.45 the main stop, 0.6 the main stop, 0.7 right there. So there's a lot of headwinds, a lot of kind of like a resistance push right there for Aleph Zero to climb back towards glory from the technical viewpoint, even though they had just lately announced the massive partnership with one of the largest banks for tokenizing assets with Aleph Zero, basically one of the largest banks, that is one of the largest banks, basically in the European vertical, to collaborate with Aleph Zero on creating the tokenized products and offers. And here we are, the chart not really appreciating. Well, let's see what the future holds. However, the trends are to the downside right now. And here's just a quick follow-up on our latest discussion about SUI against Tether on Binance on the daily chart, when it was attempting a breakout of an all-time high resistance at $218, right? It was a support cluster between 112 and 105 and 117, if you will, right? 112, the main point right there. Key support is being held right now. The market is reacting positively, decently positively. Today, it's quite a push, if you will, from the very low to the very high. It's 16%. Wow, what a pullback. And the support held at the high time for trailer stop at 1.71 right there. So the market continues to kind of like consolidate locally between the high of 217 and the low marked by yesterday's price action on the following the bad CPI release with a higher inflation than expected, where entire cryptos just dumped. So 205 right now, 15% push from the lows today, quite a significant pullback to the upside. Support held. The trends on trading higher 200-day more sensitive BPRO trend line is crossing over the less sensitive 200-day simple moving average that has been a little bit flattened, even though with a little bit of a curl up towards the end. Still, it seems that there is going to be more upside, at least on average. The markets react positively over here. And here on another note is not SUI, it's SEI, SEI against Tether on Binance again. Quite an interesting setup right now, if you will, because there must be resemblance of an inverse head and shoulders pattern that is right there dictated with a decent neckline resistance, right over here. And that looks fairly interesting. Does it seem this chart looks clean if I say it, right? So a head and shoulders pattern back then, that is a typical kind of like a reversal pattern or a continuation. Well, it's difficult to guess the future, right? But as long as it breaks out, the breakout is what defines the direction of a further movement. Potentially is an extension and extrapolation of what there is because of people jumping on a bandwagon in the direction of the breakout, more likely than any severe statistics. I mean, some statistics in this case where the 200-day BPRO trend line seems to be lining up a little bit and curving up, with the BPRO setup being bullish right here with the orange curve defined by the volatility. It seems that the volatility is bullish oriented right now, bull oriented. So all in all, I would say, and I would expect a little bit more bullish price action as long as we manage to break through and above this falling, declining 200-day simple moving average that represents the overall bear market. So this may be a reversal of a bear market, right? We'll see where it goes. Depends quite a lot if we establish new higher high. That is going to be essential, basically based on a Dow theory, to see a bull market and the main time frame to have a consequent series of higher highs and high lows. If we don't get it, well, there's not a single bull market in a world which doesn't move up. And only all the bull markets have to move up by definition. So here we are consolidating a little bit, still in the consolidation that looks a little bit like inverse head and shoulders. If it breaks above, if it breaks through, which it seems that it's so for doing so right now as we speak, then it actually may be promising. First, I want to see a closure above 0.51, 0.52. The new highs established close above. This may establish something more. Let's see. And here's the final check real quick with the BPRO setup on the daily chart for Popcat against USDT on Bybit. High time frame trailer stop for this bullish trend setup is at 1.11 with an inclining 50-day trend, right? This trend continues to incline, which is positive thing. The medium term tendency of the market continues to incline, continues to move up, which is interesting for the bulls. A little bit of a pull up right here off the 50-day trend line on the RSI side. So the momentum stays quite for the past month, basically all the time above the 50-day trend line, pulling it a little bit further and higher, which is positive and favorable for bulls. So arguably there is some good momentum. It broke all-time highs right over here with a massive push ever since the very listings, after the listings lows, basically of 18x, 31%, quite a massive push. And it's just right here, making the new high, establishing the all-time high at 1.51 or so, 1.5, pushing a little bit today. And here we are with the high time frame trailer stop at 111 being saved. And as long as it's saved, this bullish tendency is going to continue. So that's bullish trend, bullish setup, momentum is bullish. Let's see where it goes. Trends tend to continue more likely than they are to reverse. So hold on tight. God bless you all and see you on the next videos.